It's not where you start, it's where you end up. This is lesson number 7 in 60 Life Lessons at 60. So, this is a series that I started a few weeks ago when I turned 60 on February 2nd. And I thought it would be a good idea to share what I've learned so far after decades of life because number one, I don't really see a lot of olders being elders. So now I'm clearly an older. In fact, one of my aunts asked me if I had gray hair. I had to tell her, yes, I do. A big old patch of gray hair right in the front of my head. So I still reserve the right to grab a bottle and change the color whenever I want to. But for now, I'm just leaving it be. But today's lesson, lesson number 7 in the series, 60 Life Lessons at 60 is, it's not where you start, it's where you end up. Hello, my people. It's your Negro with APTitude and host of the BLACKboard, Mickee Lee. Thanks for spending some time with me as we go through this series. Again, I'm sharing what I've learned in 6 decades of life because as I look around, especially on the social media landscape, and really just walking around, throughout my day-to-day life, I don't see a lot of what was available when I was a young person and older people were around. The older people were very much sharing wisdom. They were very much invested in making sure that younger people didn't make the same kind of mistakes that they may have made when they were younger. The older people were very much invested in being a source of support and leadership for the younger people in the community. And I see that very much is missing all throughout the American landscape. But of course, it has the most devastating effect on my community, the ADOS community. I'm seeing a lot of olders that are just really pretty silly. And unfortunately, my generation, which is Generation X, I guess I'm at the beginning of Generation X, having been born in 65, I really and I've said this before in other videos, I really just don't see that we are the same caliber of older people as the older people were when we were younger. So at least in my life, I'm planning on, I'm changing that. I'm doing what I can to change that. And this series, I hope you will find very valuable. If you're the same age as me, that you're encouraged to share your wisdom as well. If you're a younger person, then I hope that it saves you from some time, energy, heartache, headache, loss of resources, etc. And I hope it encourages you to get on up and get, moving in your own life. Because again, everything goes by very, very quickly. And now, at this age of 60, I was telling my sister, I really never considered that I would actually live to 60. And there's a number of reasons for that. I'm not ill. There's nothing major that's going on with my body that I know of in any event. But I've had several cousins in my peer group that have died suddenly. And then to have an event like we had this weekend where singer Angie Stone was at a concert one moment, and then just a mere few hours later, she had stepped into eternity. So I told my sister I really do feel for the last number of years, a few years in particular, that I have been playing beat the clock, that, the clock is winding down and I need to be very intentional about the type of legacy that I leave. I don't have children. I've said that in other videos. I'm also unmarried. I am not upset or bothered or regretful of either of those decisions. For one thing, people have children without realizing that children are baby spirits And those spirits must be taught the proper relationship with God, and those spirits must be looked after by people who fear God and fear that the child may be lost eternally. We as a group of people have lost our fear of God, and there's a lot of reasons for that, not the least of which is being in a very wicked nation that never showed any fear towards God and has been a hypocritical, has been a hypocritical presence on the earth from day one, and over 500 years of our Christian behavior has not changed that. And I'll be going more into that topic in other videos, but for right now, I want to stay on topic, which is it's not where you start, it's where you end up. So as I say, I want to share this wisdom over I certainly hope you find wisdom in what I'm saying. If it doesn't make sense, then somebody should tell me, because then I need to either stop making the videos or certainly correct the situation, so it is a wise investment of your time to listen to the video and find out what I've learned in these 6 decades. As I said, the time goes by very quickly. And then you have events like the sudden passing of Angie Stone, where one moment she was at a concert and a mere few hours later she had stepped into eternity. And this thinking of, my day of departure being at hand at some point, sooner than it was when I was young, is a very much a present situation in my mind. And since I don't have children and I don't have marriage, which is the typical way that one leaves a legacy, then I have to leave a legacy through professional endeavors such as this YouTube channel and other things that I do offline. So again, it's not where you start, it's where you end up. One of the things that I found ironic as I was, growing up, is I have often noticed that a lot of times people who received a lot as children, a lot of investment as children, often didn't go quite as far as one would think, given the amount of investment that they received. Whereas many children who started in rocky situations, by no means does this mean all children who start in rocky situations, because we can look at the data and we know that for most children who start in rocky situations, for example, there's economic instability. The parents can't keep the lights on. They can't keep a steady supply of good food. They can't keep, them living in a very decent, clean housing situation. The kids are not allowed to, go to school regularly. The clothes that they wear are ill-fitting and this kinds of thing. We know for a fact that most children growing up in these situations have a very, very, very hard life. And so I am by no means suggesting that that is an ideal way to grow up. But it is true that many times those who have least amount of investment placed in them, those who have a hard knocks life, so to speak, or have a hard scrabble life, those people wind up achieving really great success at a young age. And the reason is because they are so intent on escaping the situation that they're in that they harness early on whatever abilities, talents, skills that they have. And they hyper focus on utilizing these things to get out of the situation they're in. Whereas some people who have had a lot of investment in their lives wind up taking much longer to bloom, shall we say, if ever, and because they haven't had to fight as hard to meet the daily necessities of life. And then there are situations, of course, where people start out going strong and somehow in the middle they kind of get twisted up and then they got to get straightened out, and then they wind up, making a success of their life later on. So I just want to encourage you that it doesn't matter where you start out, it only matters where you end up. Now, uh, the purposes of this channel, a lot of my focus is when I say where you end up, I'm talking about eternity. Are you going to wind up on the right side of eternity? And again, I will delve into a lot of that more directly. But for the purpose of this video, what I'm encouraging you to do is that if you're a person who has unrealized dreams, and that's really where this series started for me, was realizing that 60 was a very bittersweet birthday, as I just said in another video. Bitter because there are some large-scale goals that I have still not met, but sweet because I do have a plan to achieve those goals, and I'm still alive and healthy enough to do it. But there are psychological, strengths that have to be employed so that I don't say to myself, well, you're already 60, so you might as well forget about it. Because I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, right? So I'd rather push ahead and achieve all that I can so that I can leave the legacy that I want to leave, which is hopefully sharing wisdom and encouragement, especially towards my ADOS people, so that we can course correct and get back to the type of people we were just 40 years ago. But if you're an individual who is kind of flippy-flopping and you're having a flippy-floppy season right now, and or you started off with a hard knocks life and you're trying to figure out how to turn that around, again, it doesn't matter where you start out, it matters where you end up. So how can you go from where you were to where you are? Well, as they say, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So one of the things that you must do is decide on maybe 2 or 3 goals that you really want to achieve. For example, if you're living in an apartment, maybe you want to purchase a home. So you'll have to find out if you're going to purchase a home in the area where you're currently living. You have to find out what the basic or what the average home price is in the area where you're living. You'll have to break that down to how much it would be a month for the mortgage and how much additional the insurance might be, and property taxes and things like that. Then you compare that to what you currently make, and if you are falling short, then you have to make a plan to boost your income so that you qualify. Maybe you're a person who has done well financially, but you always wanted to go back to school. All right, well, that plan is already made for you. So decide which colleges that are around in your area. Go ahead and set appointments to visit those colleges so that you can talk to counselors about what your area of study might be. And you can see what the vibe is like on the campus, and you can decide if that works for you. Maybe you're a person who has worked for somebody all your life and you've wanted to start a successful side business. Well, again, decide what that might be, and see if there are other people out there already doing it. Chances are there are. And chances are there's lots of free information on YouTube and other social media platforms that will allow you to at least get the basics down and save yourself years of trying to figure this out on your own. They may even have courses available for a reasonable price that will teach you step by step what to do. Check out a number of these courses to the point of the free stuff that you can before you decide which one you want to purchase. But again, those are concrete steps that you can make in order to achieve your goal right now. Because it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end up. And none of us had control over where we started. You know, there are some of us that if we could have changed families, we most certainly would. If we could have changed the conditions into which we were born, we certainly would. Some of us, if we could decide not to have been born, we certainly would. So none of us controlled where we start, but all of us can control where we end up. This is your Negro with Aptitude and host of the Blackboard, Mickee Lee. And once again, this is 60 Life Lessons at 60. Please let me know if you found this video helpful, if you found wisdom in it in any way. If you're a person over 50 in particular and there's some wisdom of your own or thoughts of your own that you want to share on this topic, please share it with us. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.